Listen, thank you so much for coming on. Welcome to the Gunman Insta Live. It is an absolute privilege to have someone of your stature come on and speak with the fight fans. For those that do not know this man, he's an iconic London legend in the community, a tactician with a professional stable of serial killers. This is Xavier Miller.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on, big man.
You're welcome. There's a couple of people that told me to make sure I message them before I jump on, so I'm just doing that quickly now.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I'll just try and add a few people in as well. Listen, you've been, you're like I said, you're a well-respected coach, an icon of London boxing, even though you don't realise it. And you've trained some fabulous fighters over the years. How did you get into coaching in the first place?
I don't know how long you got, but I'll give you the very, very short version.
I've got time for you, big man.
Right, the short version is, my uncle used to tell me what fighters to watch. This is from like maybe 12 years old, and then I kind of got obsessed with it, and he put me in contact with someone in America who used to sell like VHS tapes of boxing because we didn't get money channels over here. So
yeah,
I read about the fights in the magazine, but then I couldn't watch them. So he had a contact in America, and he used to sell VHS tapes. It was for 4-hour tape was £15, and a 3-hour tape was 12. And I used to have to wash cars on a Saturday morning and do a paper round on a Thursday before school to get the money to be able to afford them. So I used to send him the money, and then he'll send the tapes, and then I used to just watch them religiously. Like every day I watched the same tape over and over again.
Really?
Yeah, and then luckily enough, coming towards, while I was in school, I think I was about 15 years old. A trainer came in to do like an after-school boxing program. And, the first week it was only me and my friend that turned up. And then the following week it was just me. And I was very upset about it because I said, well, this is what I wanted to do. So he said, listen, I've got a setup at my home, but I can't do it here at the school anymore because there's no funding now because there's no members. So
yeah,
he only lived like maybe 4 or 5 roads away from where I lived. So I started going to him, and the inspiration of my my bag room and my gym with all the posts and stuff is because that's what he had in his garage with a very, very small ring. It was about an 8-foot boxing ring. It was in a single garage.
Wow!
And he taught me to box there, and he had pictures of like all the gyms he'd been to, like in the Midwest, like Detroit and stuff like that. So he was like, it was almost like it all connected because I'm reading these magazines, and then my uncle told me what fighters to watch, and then he's teaching a style that is not from the UK. It was completely different. We started training like regularly. I used to go to his run there after school, and I couldn't wait to start training.
Brilliant.
And unfortunately, that's why I say a lot of guys these days, they need to respect and understand the time the coach puts in, because I was training him for about 11 months, and then one day, normal day, went off to school, and his wife opened the door and said that he'd gone. And I said, what do you mean he's gone? He'd said, he was ill and he passed away.
Oh, man.
And he just left a letter for you. And that was it. It was a very sad end, but it really made me want to be a fighter. I really wanted to box. The things we spoke about, and all the places he told me to go to, I started saving my money, put my backpack on, went out to America, sparred out there, had harsh lessons out there, but I understood the difference. And,
some harsh lessons, yeah.
Yeah, and I came back here and I went to loads of different gyms, and the coaches all said the same thing. Oh, you're really good, but we don't understand what you're doing. And the problem is back then, it was very much a straight up sort of style, amateur boxing style, England sort of boxing style. And they didn't understand too much of rolling shots of the shoulders and stuff like that. So I was young, so it made me uncomfortable. It's like, I'm trying to find somebody who understands what it is I'm doing, because all right, you're saying good, but you don't know what to do with me. So it was a bit lost for a while, and then eventually I had some amateur fights. I had a very good. I didn't have many amateur fights, but I had a good record. I never lost as a junior. And then eventually I did go pro, but for medical reasons I failed a medical, so then I had to become a coach. And that's the short version. There's a lot more to it than that, but that's the short version.
So you never turned pro, did you?
Shout out to JK. Yeah. I went to turn pro and obviously failed a medical. It was difficult back then. It's not. There's a lot of different ways to go about it now, but that's because I know a lot of people. Back when I was on my own, I was young. Once the doctor said to me, right, you would never pass a medical for whatever reason. I didn't pursue it any further than that. It was like, well, that's the end of it, and I just didn't even want anything to do with boxing for a long time until, luckily enough, I put on a lot of weight, and I just went to a fitness gym to go and just do some training.
Yeah,
my cousin was going to, and a coach from All Stars Boxing Club was there.
Yeah,
and we did a bit of sparring, and he understood exactly what I was doing. I just wish I'd met him when I was a lot younger.
Yeah.
But then, I started falling in love with it again, and then turned to coaching. That's when I met my business partner a few years later, Nick, and we created IQ Boxing.
Yeah, amazing. We're going to come on to talk about IQ Boxing in a little bit. Small Spartan J.
J, my guy. I love Spartan J.
He's a great guy. He's a great character. He's the only guy I know with a better set of teeth than me.
Hey, Jay runs my gym, man. He's a bully in my gym. He might be
he's a little tank.
I'm telling you. He tells us what to do in our own gym.
No, he's a little tank. Great guy. And he's asking, name a coach that would get in the ring with him that's his age or weight. So are you still sparring the boys then, are you, Zav?
No, not anymore. If they hit me now, I start shaking. My bones start shaking. But I would definitely, for charity, I would definitely do a charity match. Like anybody who's 50 plus, I would do it. But most of them won't. They haven't got the courage to get in it with me anyway. But that's this lot's fault. If they'd not said anything and said that I could box, I could have got a fight. But the word started getting around a little bit. Because when I offered some people out, they said, no, it's all right.
Yeah.
So, they sported, man. You ruined you done me over. Oh, Marley Mason, big up Marley. What's going on?
Yeah.
You see, Marley
Mason. I was at his last fight. As well.
Marley's.
Yeah, I sponsor Aaron Prosper. He won't like me saying.
There's no way.
Yeah, I sponsor Aaron Prosper, so I was at the fight.
You can't say that now, like as we're into the live. You can't say that. Ahmed's my guy.
I know.
Listen, we're coming for him.
I know.
You can send him this message. We're coming for him.
Mate, he's tattooing brothers at the moment, though, mate. He's tattooing brothers.
Listen, I respect him. He's always been good, and he doesn't duck no fade anyway. So
I
like the way he fights. It's going to be a great fight.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that's that fight's in for February the 22nd, I believe, isn't it?
Yeah. On a Dillian Whyte show, really good opportunity. Dillian Whyte. Honestly, his shows are one of the best I've been to. He's done quite a few now, and it's the quality of the show. It's the money he puts behind the production. So I've got three. I got 3 fighters on that day on that show. So,
yeah, brilliant. So listen, anyone joining the live, fire in some questions for Coach Zav. He's big in the game. Yeah, he's big in the game. So make sure you're following him. Make sure you ask him some questions. Make sure you're following Gunman as well. I interview fighters of all levels on Instagram and YouTube. So we're on Instagram and YouTube live at the moment.
I'll get everyone to follow you, champ. Don't worry.
Yeah, listen, the more people, we've got some really good interviews coming out. I've got an unbelievable face-off on Friday. I can't even spoil it for you, but it's going to be sexy. I can't announce it yet, but
big shout out to Obi as well. We used to work together. Obi, that's my guy, my brother.
Yeah.
A lot of my people, good people are here, man. Definitely.
Some good people. You meet such good people in boxing. So listen, I want to ask you some coach questions, Zach, because coaching is, it can be quite frustrating, but the coaches deserve more reward. Our lives are in your hands as fighters. Our lives are in your hands. We have to trust our coach, trust that you've done the research, trust that you lay down the right game plan so that we can deliver and execute your game plan and get the win. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to ask you, how much tape do you watch of opponents, or do you suggest your fighters watch of their opponents?
I watch a hell of a lot. I've been doing film study since I was a kid. That's why I had to spend so much money, because I kept watching the VHS tapes over and over again.
Yeah.
And it actually wore out, and I had to go and order the same tape again. It was that crazy. Like, my dad used to leave in the morning, see me watching a fight, come back after work in the evening, he see me watching the same fight, because I wanted to know how they were doing what they were doing, so I just wanted to study it. And that hasn't changed now. I make videos, I make clips, and then I'll voice over it, and then I'll send it to my boxers. It's always a strategic game plan. There's nothing like, I don't do random. Like, to me, fights are won or lost in training camp. If you do the right thing, then
So do you advise your boxers to watch quite a lot of their opponents?
No, I don't think it's a good idea at all, because a lot of boxers like to watch a lot of footage of fighters, but the problem is that they won't look like that against you.
Yeah,
if they do, great, wonderful. And what if they don't? What they'll come in and say to me, oh, yeah, I've noticed this guy does this and he does that. Yeah, he's doing that against that opponent. It doesn't mean he's going to do that against you. And then you get obsessed with studying opponents. And then when you get in there, when that bell rings, there's a lot of different things for you to think about when you're a fighter. Yeah. There's a nervous energy before you walk into the ring. You start asking yourself questions on the way to the ring as well as a boxer. Like, did I do enough runs? Did I do enough sparring? Do I have the right game plan? Like, there's a lot of things that go through a boxer's mind. They forget about all these things when the bell rings, but on the way there, you can burn a lot of nervous energy just by, to be honest, you at some points trying to be too clever.
Yeah.
This is why you've got a coaching team, and it's better to have more than one coach, because obviously the more coaches you have, the more they see. So that's why it's good to have 2 or 3 experienced guys in the corner. Even during camp, it's good to have at least 2 coaches, in the gym. Some older guys that have been around longer than I have, overseeing what I do.
Yeah. Duke McKenzie, a 3-time world champion at 3 different weight classes, which is pretty much unheard of in British boxing.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone else has done that, actually. He used to say to me, his gym's just around the corner from my house, and I pop in all the time, and I trained with him. I trained with him for 3 of my fights as well, or 4 of my fights, I think. And I used to fight unlicensed boxing, so not like high level, but decent level. And he used to say to me, don't watch too much tape, because you're building in your mind that this brother that you're fighting is the Hulk. You're building, like, look, what if he does that knockout to me? And you're building this guy in your mind to be better than he is.
Yeah.
And then, like you said a moment ago, often when you jump in the ring with someone, they don't do what you've been watching for in that fight, because they can't do that to you. And it's so different. But other people, I used to always like researching. And when you speak with someone like John Jones, the UFC fighter, says, I like to know where the guy is comfortable, what parts of the ring he's comfortable in. I like to know what reactions he does. He studies meticulously.
I think there's a big difference between watching somebody and studying them. I think if you're going to fight somebody, you should have a look at them. In terms of breaking them down and, looking at habits and so on and so forth, you should trust your coaching team to do that. And if, to be honest with you, if that's not what you're doing, to me, it's not the right coach for you.
Yeah.
I think you should go to somewhere where you're more comfortable, because a lot of times you'll never hear me talk negatively ever about any boxing coach, because there's loads of different ways, to get the result you're looking for.
Yeah. There's
loads of different coaching styles. Like, and another coach could be saying exactly the same thing, but we're just going to say it in 2 completely different ways. It's different. It's a different frequency, a different language.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean one's better than the other. It means that you gravitate more to what the style that he's teaching.
Yeah.
That's fine. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But when you completely, you have to buy into the ethos of what the coach is teaching you. If you haven't completely bought into it and you're asking questions, he's not the coach for you.
Yeah.
Or what?
No, that makes sense.
Or sometimes you might have had a boxer for a long time, and then there'll be a period where they're not really listening to what you're saying anymore, not really doing what you need to do.
Yeah.
At that point, it's time for a change. And a lot of times, a coach will stay in that situation because maybe financially it'll benefit them, or they'll just hoping things will get better. I'm not that kind of guy. I don't need. I came from most of my money I made from education, not from boxing coaching. So, it's, for me, this is more the love, of the sport. I worked really hard so I can be in position so I could just be into boxing full time. It's not easy to do that. So
do you still love it? Do you still love it like day one?
Absolutely. The day that I don't, I'm walking.
Yeah,
It's still what I want to be involved in every day. Even when I finish coaching, I'm already thinking about commentating or being a judge. Like I'm already thinking about those things because I don't want to coach for more than another maybe 7-8 years. To be honest with you, 7-8 years will probably be enough for me. But then I would have achieved everything that I want to achieve in that time. So yeah, I still love it. Yeah,
I'm just going to bang out a few fan questions because there's been some good ones that have come in, and it would be rude to not read any one of them out.
Okay.
Who's your favourite boxer of all time, Mr. Nimmer?
It's Evander Holyfield.
Ooh,
I was on the Boxing Voice one time, and a fan called in and said, how can you compare Evander Holyfield to Floyd Mayweather? I said, well, pretty easily. If you're talking in terms of achievement, both
two-time world champ,
both bronze medalists. Evander Holyfield is an undisputed champion in 2 weight divisions, and he's the only 4-time heavyweight champion in history. If you're talking about achievements, it's a conversation.
And beat Tyson in his absolute prime, really.
Well,
as close to his prime.
You could touch on a good point, and his resume. Who did he not fight? As great as Floyd is, never undisputed in any of those 5 weight divisions he was in. And a lot of those fighters he didn't fight, in their prime. So they're both great. Again, they've got to the mountaintop with their own journeys. They're both great, but for me, I would rather put on an Evander Holyfield fight or a James Toney fight than watch a Floyd Mayweather fight. I just think that it's just more for me. Boxing's an entertainment business, and if you're not fun to watch, then I'll watch you because it will help me with my boxers technically. But in terms of being entertained, I want to watch the guys entertain me like a Felix Trinidad, like a Shane Mosley, like Lex Arguello. Those are the guys I like to watch.
Yeah, you like some good fighters, man.
Side of it, it's just that's what I prefer.
Yeah. We've got Mark Vinola. Who's the best up and coming fighter in your stable?
Up and coming, it's a difficult one. I've got like 9-10 pros.
I know, but you got to choose one.
No, they're all at completely different stages.
Who's up and coming? Who should we watch out for? That's what he's asking.
Alfie Clegg definitely one to watch at flyweight. He's won an IBO youth title.
Yeah, unbeaten as well. And is he 6 or 7-0?
I think 7, yeah.
7-0, yeah. He's looking decent.
He's very good. My heavyweight, Ergul Elazadj, he's 22 years old. He's now 3 or 4-0. Might have some big news for him. He might be on a big platform. I'll have some news tomorrow, the day after for him.
Really?
He's hot. Jesse Brandon on 3, I think he's 4-0. He's going to be on the next gen Matchroom card on the 31st of January.
Yeah, I saw that.
I've got a lot coming. I did say the last couple of years, I did want to take a little step back and go back to rebuilding my gym, and I'll be back to big time boxing next year.
Yeah.
So we will be involved in some very, very big fights next year, but the groundwork's been done. But yeah, I've got too many. I've got a new kid, Jama Kayani. He's gonna have his debut next month. I've got both his cousins in my gym, Amar Kayani, Kasim Kayani. I love the Kayani families. Family that they're great. Very respectful, like hardworking guys. I've got so much good boxers. Obviously, Youssef Khoumari is the most experienced, along with Prosper.
I tell you what, I love the way Youssef boxes. I absolutely love that style. I just love it. I like, short, squat, he's low, he's crouched, he's explosive, his defense is good, footwork's good. I really love that style Youssef has got.
Well,
he's been on it for a long time.
He's the only boxer that I've ever taught to box like myself.
He whips his jab like a piston as well.
But I've had him since he was like 15, 16 years old. He's 28 now.
Yeah,
and I haven't got time to rebuild anyone again with that style, because that's the style I'm most comfortable with. But it's very difficult to teach because your fundamentals have to be so good to start with. So
would you say that was similar to your style then?
that
Because
is
when
he
I
is
boxed, I was quite similar
yeah,
to that as well.
he is me. That's that. What I've done is I've created a style that was as close as possible to the way I used to box. That's why it's been so comfortable working with him. And Ergel Elazar, the heavyweight, he is a very, very quick learner. So I think that, because he's so young, he will start to understand the angles and what he needs to travel, obviously, to America and get sparring out there and so on and so forth. But he's got the time to do it. He's another one that is very, very talented. But I've
Yeah,
got so many in my gym right
you
now.
have it. I mean, you've got an electric stable. Let me fire through a few of these questions.
How you doing, Gary Olive? Tommy,
Oh yeah, Mr.
how are you, man?
Mr.
SW Boxing. That little man, he's everywhere. Oh, Amy, that's my good friend Amy.
Yeah, Gary Olive as well. He helped me get the Chase to More interview yesterday
Okay.
as well. What a top man. Big up yourself, Gary. Yeah, let me just quickly fire through these questions, and I've got a few of my own still. So someone's saying Tyson versus Ali, who wins and why? That's Mooney and Success. Tyson or Ali?
You mean Mike Tyson?
Yeah.
Yeah, Muhammad Ali would outboxed him.
Yeah.
Yeah, boxed him.
What do you do with a boxer when he doesn't listen? Ace Boxing Academy.
Me at this age, I just walk. But when I was younger, honestly, I would exhaust every possibility. Like because we kind of had an advantage coming from an education background because you learn what you call a VAC system. Where you have visual learners, auditory, kinesthetic. So you can work different styles with different people because everyone's got a different character. Some guys are very difficult. Because we did work with a lot of kids with like behavior difficulty and so on. I was very, very patient, in the prime of my coaching career because I was a lot younger. It was new to me. I mean, I think I started in 1999, but when I was around 25, 26, 27, that's when I really put like everything into it and would deal with any type of boxer. But now, because of the culture that I came from, I never, ever, ever questioned or spoke during training with my coach, ever. It was, you come in, you do exactly what I tell you, and you go home and study. And timekeeping was a big thing for me as well. It's like I used to run from school just to make sure I wasn't late. And the one time I was late, because one of my friends was messing about in class, so we got kept behind 10 minutes. And I ran there, and he said, "You're late," and he threw my gym bag out of the garage door, and said, "Yeah, no, come back tomorrow."
Yeah.
That's
good though, man. You see people training with friends and they don't have that sort of discipline. It's like they'll have a mate training them and they don't have that same discipline and that same sort of respect and fear, I suppose, at the same time that if I'm late, I'm going to get kicked out, or if I don't do this correctly, I'm not going to progress.
I wasn't scared of him until he did that. To be honest with you, I was shocked. You know what I mean? Because I'm always on time. Always do exactly what you said. But the one time it was like no. So that I don't like what goes on in today's boxing. There's too many boxers like to have conversation with coaches, and if you haven't reached a certain level, you shouldn't be talking. Like you haven't done enough, to warrant having that kind of conversation with a coach. It's just not going. That system's not going to work because when you do get into a crisis in a fight, that's the person you listen to. That's the person you look to. And if you don't have that level of respect in the gym, you're not going to have it fight night. So I'm very strict on that. I won't take on any boxer seriously, especially at this stage of my career that I feel is going to be difficult or hard to manage. I don't have to do that anymore. I've built so many fighters from amateurs to pro level. I don't have to do it.
So my next question is, what's the minimum requirement? If I wanted to come and train with you tomorrow, not that I do, but what was the minimum requirement that you expect from a fighter that comes into your gym?
I can say now, before, you didn't have to have a lot of amateur experience because I had an amateur gym and we were happy to do that. But now, if you haven't had a certain amount of amateur fights, I wouldn't even bother because I haven't got the time to go back to teach the basic fundamentals. Not anymore. We're looking to move forward now. So if you come with a good base, if you're at a good level, we can move forward from then. I haven't got time to go back. And there's certain things that boxers, if you've had like 30, 40 amateur fights, you should know how to do the basics. If you don't know how to do the basics, then something has seriously gone wrong along that journey, because that's the whole point of you being an amateur boxing club. Because to be honest with you, us coaches, we get a lot of praise, but it's really the guys in the amateur, it's really the amateur coaches, to be honest with you, are the ones that are building these kids and building these boxers. They're the ones that get them to a certain level and they get passed on to us. So if you haven't taken your education seriously, then it's going to be difficult. And I just haven't got the time anymore. So you have to come with good basic fundamentals, and you have to be coachable. You have to, at this stage, you have to be coachable. And it's not because it's not personal. It's just that where me and Nick are trying to get, where we're trying to get to, we do have a window. There is a certain time where we've got to reach this certain stage, with this fighter. And if it means that someone's going to be changing the dynamics of the club because they feel that they're more important than anybody else, so we'll just walk away.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Listen, there's an expression in boxing: you either go hard or you go home. And if you don't go hard in boxing, then you might not go home. Would you say, how much does it annoy you when you see talent wasted as a coach?
I'll be honest with you. I think I've come across more talented guys that didn't take up the sport seriously than the ones that have. I've seen so many guys that really could have done something. Like they were just special. Like it's just. I mean, one guy came into Stonebridge one time when I was coaching there, and he came off the street and he saw one of the kids using the speedball, and he just walked up and just did it. He said he's never put on gloves before or anything like that. He was just, you could show him once and he just knew how to do it straight away. But he was serious. He was involved in football, basketball, all these different sports, because he was just gifted. He could do them all, but he wasn't disciplined. So to be honest with you, most of the guys that I've met, especially when I went to America, I got a harsh lesson because I found it easy sparring guys over here. And when I went over there, they called a guy who was a part-time boxer to come in after work, and he beat me up. When I say he beat me up, and everything I tried everything. And I say to you, that's when I realized the big difference between UK boxing and USA boxing. There's this golfing class, and I did better the second time round, but I still didn't get the better of him. But what I did was when I packed my bags and went home, I said, okay, I need to do a lot more than what I'm doing because I'm not good enough to compete with those guys.
It's interesting you talk about the golfing class, because for years we were padding up fighters over here. The promoters over here would pad up guys to their 20, 30 and 0. They'd go across the pond and get their ass whooped. Like, it was happening for years, wasn't it?
If you remember, if you can go back far enough, they still keep doing it. Winky Wright was coming over here and beating all our top guys.
Yeah, Winky Wright, what a fighter.
He was doing a number on them. It's just like, it's again, you see, and then one of my favorites is Kell Brook, but you see when Errol Spence came over here, you saw the difference in class. It's just
even Prince Nazim, you could say, when Prince Nazim, he goes over there, he was cleaning people off over here. He goes over there, he was lucky to beat that Kelly in
great fight, Kevin Kelly.
Yeah, Kevin Kelly in New York. He was lucky though, he was exposed. When he went over the pond, he got exposed a bit. Like when no one has seen him like all off balance and falling everywhere.
I wouldn't say exposed. I would say that he met his level. I mean, when you fight the top guys, it's supposed to look like that. It's supposed to look competitive. That's what it was. It's just that Barrera to me is exceptional. That's all it was.
Barrera was exceptional.
We spoke minutes ago about being fundamentally sound.
Yeah,
Barrera is fundamentally sound. Nazim not. He's gifted, athletic.
Yeah,
there's a difference. You can make up for it, but usually the fundamental guys they're the guys to look at.
Yeah, let's just talk about Whyte, Dillian Whyte quickly.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to push on through because I don't want to keep you here all night, and you and I could talk boxing all night, my friend. But like Dillian Whyte, his last fight.
Yeah.
How do you rate that performance? And how do you rate that performance?
Yeah, to be honest with you, my mistake, honestly, I thought the fight was on a Saturday. If I knew it was on a Sunday, I probably would have gone, because a flight to Gibraltar is like, it's a short flight. And obviously, I got good memories from being there because that's where we got our revenge against Povetkin in the rematch.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have minded going out there. And Thomas Carty, I like. I used to train for them.
Yeah.
So I would have gone to watch. But it wasn't the fight that I was expecting. But what I did like, I did see an improvement in his defense. Being
Head movement was good,
more
wasn't
of a
it?
side profile. Head movement was good. His combinations were good. I think the only thing that let him down that performance was that he was just too heavy. I still message Dillian every now and then. Obviously I just gave him my feedback on the performance, but I liked some of what he was doing. It's just when you're carrying too much weight, your balance doesn't look the same. But you can see he's working on a lot of stuff with body, and you can see it's working. So yeah, Dillian's always. How long has Dillian been fun to watch? Like, of course, we want him in the mix. Like, we still got this crop of heavyweights that they're coming towards the end of the journey, but they still can give us fun fights. There's still guys in the rounds that he could fight, and I think he should try and have one more shot at a world title as well. I don't see why not. I mean, after Usyk and Fury, I do think the belts will be available. I just think there's a lot of.
What do you think, Dubois? A shot at Dubois, maybe?
I think a shot at any of those guys. Dillian's had a lot of experience. Remember, Dillian's beaten Parker. Like you never know when it's going to be your day. Boxing has always been about timing. Obviously, it's always been about timing. You get in the right time with the right guy. It can be your day and you can shine. So I'd love to see Whyte Chisora 3.
Now listen, I interviewed Lawrence Okolie ahead of his heavyweight debut.
Dangerous.
I went to the press conference of the Magnificent Seven, and he kindly spent, gave me a good 5-10 minutes of his time, and I interviewed him. And mate, I'm pretty sure he came in the ring about 3 stone heavier than he was at cruiserweight, and he wants that Dillian Whyte fight. That's why I bring it up.
Yeah.
And what I wanted to ask you, how do you view Lawrence Okolie as a heavyweight? Is he a serious problem? Or is it all hype train?
Shout out Chris Crawley as well. I've known him for a long time. It's to be honest with you, I've always said this, and if you know your boxing, you'll understand it. The cruiserweights, they're going to have a slightly easier time with a lot of heavyweights because of the speed. Once you're a heavyweight and you're used to sparring heavyweights, they move different. When you get a quicker guy, it's a problem. This is why with David Haye, he's not a natural heavyweight, but he's moved up to heavyweight. He boxed for a few years as a heavyweight, but then you've got Bellew coming along, who never had boxed at heavyweight, who wasn't really a heavyweight, but he's boxing cruiserweights. So David hadn't seen that speed difference for a long time, and to me that's what gave him a lot of problems. David looked very quick against heavyweights. He didn't look so quick against Bellew. And it's the same with Holyfield. Holyfield used to take a lot of guys to dark places because he was coming from a lighter weight division, and they couldn't deal with his work rate, couldn't deal with his speed or his technique. Usyk again. Usyk's moved up, and he's beating everybody. Yeah. Why is the smaller guy able to beat all these big heavyweights? Number one, he's technically better, and 2, the heavyweights are finding it hard to adjust to him. He's got good foot movement. He's got good feints. He's a southpaw. So Lawrence Okolie, he does have some advantages as a cruiserweight because he's almost got the height of a heavyweight. Like around the Joseph Parker sort of height. The Dillians of the world and so on. He is around their kind of size. I think if he comes in lighter, he doesn't need the excess weight to slow him down. Your advantage is going to be the speed, Lawrence. If you come up to heavyweight, don't pack on too much weight because it's going to slow you down. It's the speed that will give heavyweights trouble. I think that he's a danger. I don't want to say who he's a danger to because I need to see him a bit more. Need to see him with another heavyweight and see how he gets up. But he is going to be a problem because he does fight safety first. He doesn't take unnecessary gambles, and he has a right. I think he hits hard enough to hurt these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's funny that you said about the smaller cruiserweights because there was a little window in the heavyweight division where it was all about the big man. It was almost like Tyson was kind of the last sort of small heavyweight for a while, and the Klitschko's took over, and Lennox took over, and suddenly it was like, hold on, these heavyweights are now 6'5", 6'6", you know, and now they're more 17 to 19 stone, you know, and those sort of smaller heavyweights, they died for a long time before Usyk came in. You had Lennox, you had the Klitschko brothers, Riddick Bowe. Then even after that, even all the contenders like Joyce, Dubois, Fleming, Zhang, like all of them are big heavyweights. And only Usyk's come in now and brought that back. I was at the AJ fight, the first one at Tottenham Hotspur's ground, and I've never seen such a small guy just take a big guy's soul. He just took his soul, hooking around his jab, and he was just a master at taking the big guy's jab away from him. For a long time, the jab was winning.
We've seen this story over and over again. It's like people still don't want to accept what they're looking at. James Toney has moved up through the weight divisions, and he's giving heavyweights trouble. Roy Jones moved up to heavyweight, and he's giving a heavyweight trouble. Like, boxing is speed. Speed is power. You know, they're going to find it a lot easier to evade shots from a heavyweight rather than the guys that were down at the weight that they were at. It's to me, it's common sense, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but
you know,
you say that, but when you get hit by one of them guys, you know what I mean?
Well, of course, but that's the beauty of it, though, isn't it?
Can Okolie take the licks? That's the thing. You need to see him take a lick.
He's not going to try to. That's not his style. He's not going to try to. And listening to a lot of interviews like Holyfield and so on, you know, he was always told, like, you know, the key is you're going to get hit, but try to avoid the big shot. That's what these cruiserweights will try to do. But try and get hold of one of these cruiserweights as a big heavyweight. You know, look how slow the likes of someone like Joyce is or Zhang. You know, it's not going to be easy for them to hit a guy that's naturally quick. It's going to be difficult.
Yeah. And listen, you've given me enough evidence for me not to argue with you on this one.
Obviously, if the both guys are on the same level, you've got, you know, the big guy would always beat the little guy because, you know, their ability is the same. Yeah. But that's not the case with the guys we've got currently. Usyk is technically better. That's why he can compete with the bigger guys.
Yeah.
You know, Holyfield and Tyson at the time were technically better. That's the reason why they could compete with them. That's why Tyson and Holyfield could give away so much weight, because they were technically better. It's not always about the size. That's the problem. That's what a lot of guys seem to overlook. You know, these guys like to fight these heavier guys because they're slower.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. And we have seen more success from cruiserweights coming up than ever before. But I did say, though, there was that small window where the small heavyweight almost died.
They did.
You know, like, there was that little window. It was about 8 years, actually, wasn't it? Not even a window. It was about 8 years of Klitschko domination and Lennox domination. And the heavyweight champ had to be.
A lot of those guys you're talking about, a lot of it was they were beating guys strictly because of how big they were. You know what I mean? They weren't technically gifted like a Riddick Bowe. Riddick Bowe could do everything.
And do you want to see Dillian Whyte in with Okolie next?
It's not a fight.
Let's get straight down to business.
No, I want to see him in with Chisora.
Whyte Chisora?
Yeah, I would like to see Okolie fight some of the up-and-coming younger heavyweights we've got. I think they'll be a lot more interesting. I think we've got
to see that fight.
No, I think we've got like Usyk, we've got Fury, we've got White, we've got Chisora. You know, you've got Joe Joyce. Those crop of heavyweights, I think they should all fight each other. The younger guys coming up, I think Cody should target one of those guys because soon the belts are going to be available anyway. I mean, Dubois is 27. I mean, that's the sort of age range I think these guys should be fighting each other. I think the older guys have got like 2-3 fights left in them. I'd rather they fight each other and then you know, the new crop come along.
Do you think then Okolie is targeting White because he thinks he's easy food?
I don't think it's that. To be honest with you, I don't even know the story between those two. I think there might be an issue somewhere along the line. I don't know. Maybe they just don't like each other. Maybe that's what it is. But I personally don't ever see that fight happening.
Really, I think it will. But you know, you're the man, and I'll take.
Unless it's for a world title, it wouldn't be. It would have to have value attached to it. It'd have to be like a final eliminator or a world title. I couldn't see them fighting just for the sake of fighting. I couldn't see it.
Quickly on to Fury Usyk 2. Can you give us a prediction for this weekend? This weekend super
I
fight.
was shocked from what I saw in the first one. I won money because I put more money on Usyk. I thought he'd win that fight easily, like 8-4 or 9-3. I was shocked that Tyson was able to do that well because I just don't see him technically in the same world as Usyk. But again, you see, when you've got that kind of height and that kind of reach, you've got natural advantages. I'm hearing a lot of people talking about Tyson needs to be more aggressive and needs to be heavier. To me, that is almost suicidal. If you have what is the point of having natural advantage if you're not going to use them? Keep Usyk as far as long range as possible, as long as catch him coming in, the end of your punches, make him have to work really hard to get close to you. And when he does get close, smother him and put your natural weight on him. Like this idea that he's going to be really, really aggressive, you can do that against Wilder. He's not technically good. He's not going to create angles. He's not. Usyk was able to hurt Fury. You can't forget that. Really, that fight should have been stopped. You go close to him.
It should have been stopped. Yeah, 100%. Ninth round, I think it was. Should have been stopped. Yeah.
He's gonna.
But it's interesting. It's interesting that you say Usyk is technically miles better than Fury, because the way I see it is those two are out on their own in terms of technical ability compared to the other heavyweights. I always feel that Fury and Usyk are the best two technical boxing, savage, brute boxing, technical boxing, better than all the others. And they're kind of a little bit out on their own. But you actually see it as Usyk's even further ahead of Fury, right?
Usyk is a couple of levels above. Like even if you look back at their careers, like Usyk has done a lot more. He's done a lot more. He was a better amateur anyway. He achieved more in the amateurs. He's a two-weight world champion. He's two-time undisputed champion. He's achieved more. He's beaten every single guy with every kind of different style you can think of.
Fury TV as well, though, Zav, you've got to do it credit. When he went over to Germany and brucked up, he brucked up Klitschko with barely getting hit in his backyard, which was phenomenal. He's gone to Wilder's backyard after a massive layoff. Should have won that fight. Next fight, he tells us, I'm going to come forward and steamroll him. Everyone thinks, yeah, of course you're not. You're going to be on the back foot and you're going to peck him to death. And he did exactly what he said he's going to do.
Absolutely.
And you've also got to remember with Fury, everyone hated him. Everyone wanted Hay to beat him a few years ago. Now everyone's on his bandwagon, The same people that wanted Hay to beat him a few years ago and the same people that wanted Joshua to beat him a few years ago. He's took those fans because of his...
boxing. That's boxing.
Yeah.
Though. But Fury again, he's like Joshua. These guys have considering... Fury's amateur background, he's overachieved. And what he's done is he's learned how to use his advantages. I mean, being 6'9" is a huge advantage. That arm reach, and he's now been around so long that he knows, when to close the range, when to lean the fighter.
Tremendous engine for a flabby,
athletic for his size. Yeah,
tremendous engine. You never see him really knackered. Or out of gas that you have to call the plumber. He's always there or thereabouts. So listen, I'm going for Usyk in the return, and I think he gets it done better. What about you?
I think Usyk, but I wouldn't be shocked in a close fight if they gave it to Tyson. But I've got Usyk the slight favourite only because I think Tyson did a lot better than I thought he would.
Yeah, he did. Everyone forgets. I think it was about round 3 to round 6. He was just in his flow. He was in.
Exactly. What was he doing at that point?
What, Fury?
When he was winning those rounds, what was Tyson Fury doing?
Well, he was having a lot of joy with that backhand uppercut, wasn't he? And he was jabbing and moving.
At what range?
Mid to long. Mid to long.
That's how you beat Usyk. You don't try. What's the point of being more aggressive? The rounds he was winning, he was doing good work because Usyk was finding it difficult to close range on him.
Yeah.
And he was step boxing. That's the key for Tyson. But whether he's got the legs to do it, still do it now, that's the question. But if he thinks he's going to go in there and be aggressive like he was against Wilder, and it's going to work for him, I don't see it.
No.
He's slower than
It's an interesting fight. Listen, well, I'm going to quickly ask you a couple of quick fire questions, and I'll let you chill for the evening. Because literally, as I said, I can talk boxing with you the whole time, and it's been brilliant having you on because you've got my mind thinking, a lot with quite deep boxing chat, and I really thoroughly enjoyed it. So let's talk about your stable. One word answers, okay? One word.
Yep.
I don't need any sort of Jack and Jill went up the hill answers.
Yeah.
On point, okay? Right? Your stable. Who is the hardest puncher?
Oi. K. Prosper and Jesse Brandon.
That's two names, but we'll let you have two because you're the man. Best defense.
Youssef Khoumari and Ergel Elizaj.
Yeah.
And Alfie Clegg.
Really? You go. I think it's hard to go past Youssef's. I love Youssef's style. I just love it. I really love the head movement. I love it. Who hates going for runs the most?
Who hates it?
Yeah. Who doesn't like doing the hill sprints? Well, no man likes doing the hill sprints, but who hates running?
I don't know if any of them particularly like it.
Nah.
I don't know. I couldn't say. They're like when these guys got to go for their runs, I'm not there. So
yeah, let's just say all of them then.
They could be lying for all I know. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Who's got the best chin?
That's crazy. I don't know.
Who have you seen take an absolute whack and you think, oh my god, how did he?
All of them. I've seen them all take a hard shot, and they're able to come firing back. All of them.
Is it too tough?
I love them all. I love them all for their heart. All of them and their chin.
They've all got solid chins.
They've all got it. They've all got it. They've all got it.
Best performance from one of your fighters in 2024. I'm putting you on the spot here, Zav.
Not really. I think Alfie Clegg, when he won his IBO Youth title, he was out. Yeah. I think he won. I think he only lost one round, or maybe a 10-rounder. He was really good. Who else had a really, really outstanding performance? I think maybe Jesse Brandon might have got that knockout this year in his third fight on the Wasserman Show, Channel 5. That was outstanding. Yeah. That's trying to think about at the moment, yeah.
Who is always late?
Oh my God, K. Prosper. Jesus. Oh my God. We've got into some arguments because of that. Yeah. Like, because the timekeeping for me is very, very important. Like, his timekeeping is awful.
Yeah.
Awful.
So he arrives when the session's finishing.
Worse than that. Worse than that.
Worse than that. Brilliant. Which fighter is most chilled out before a fight? Like, you have to wake that brother up. You have to grab that brother. Look, come on, man, we've got to fight.
I think when Bilal was at my gym, Bilal Fawaz was very chilled out before a fight. Youssef Khoumari starts talking about this fight shouldn't have been made, and I'm going to do this to this guy and that to that guy. So he's a lunatic. Who else is chilled out? Oh, Ergel, the heavyweight. He's very chilled out before a fight.
Yeah, that's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Amar Kayani.
Yeah,
he looks very relaxed before a fight.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, you got.
And his brother Kasim. Kasim looks like he's about to go for a light jog or a walk, a stroll. Very, very relaxed. To be honest, they're all very relaxed. I don't see any of them panicking like before a fight.
Yeah. Or nervous, or just need to walk.
I can tell when they're nervous. They might not think I can, but I can tell when they're nervous.
Yeah.
I can tell.
Yeah. One of the fans asked, "Is Bilal Fawaz still in your stable?"
No, Bilal's gone back to All Stars with Taron, one of my good friends. Bilal's got a big fight, 31st of March, I think, matchroom fight against Boston. So I wish Bilal the best. He's been through hell and back, that guy. In and out of the ring.
Yeah, so. Unbelievable story that guy's got. One day I will get him on here. He says he's not doing interviews at the moment, but he will come eventually.
Shout out to Watson as well. Good to see you in here, man.
Yeah, shout out to everyone that's joined the live. I hope you've really enjoyed it. Lastly, I was going to say, let me just say thank you to this guy. It's a great interview as always. That's PL14LA. No problems at all. That's what we do. Zav, what your plans for next year? What goals have you got for next year for you personally or the team? Like, what is a good year for you next year?
A good year this year would have been winning 4 or 5 titles. But unfortunately, Ahmed, his fight got pulled due to injury with Aaron, and Youssef Khoumari's opponent pulled out for his title fight.
Yeah.
And I was expecting one more as well. I was hoping that Alfie Clegg would go for a Commonwealth silver. So the beginning of the year started really well. The end of the year wasn't as good. I want at least minimum 4 titles next year. That'll be a good year for me. I really want it. But if I get 4, it'll be a good year.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Listen, thank you so much for your time today.
You're welcome.
It's been, honestly, you're a fountain of knowledge. And listen, I used to box myself, but now as a boxing journalist and a purist fan, I love hearing the insights of someone like you about how a fighter should prepare and, the mindset of the team and all the rest of it. It's been fantastic to
You're welcome.
To spend some time. Yeah, listen, I hope to see you again soon anyway.
Tell Aaron we've got a face-to-face coming soon with another channel with Ahmed, so that'll be happening early next year to obviously to build the fight. It's important these guys they build their profile.
Yeah.
Especially one fight, it's an English title final eliminator as well. So
yeah, it's an English title final eliminator. Yeah, I'm really gutted because I can't go to that fight. I'm really gutted. It's landed on a day where I'm like hosting a show up in Liverpool, and so I can't be at it. But it just clashes. There's only one gunman and too many shows. I did 2 shows this week.
It will build. You'll have more. Don't worry, champ.
Yeah, I've been like I go to loads of shows I do, and sometimes when they clash, I've just got to make a choice. And sometimes I've had 3 shows on one night like to go to, and I'm trying to jet around and get to all of them. It's just it's not applicable.
I might have these interest in doing what you're doing, and they're just starting off. So maybe they might be able to help you out.
Yeah.
But
DM me. Yeah, definitely DM me.
Okay.
But yeah, listen, thanks again for coming on. As I said, I wish you and your stable a really good Christmas and an unbelievably prosperous New Year. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you,
man. Up, big man. Take it easy.